Holy moly. Is it cheeky?
No.
I can't see.
This one, I'm like,
Oh, well, I better not blow it up in front of everybody. It's too early in the morning.
welcome everybody to On Air with LA Balloons. This is season 2. I'm Karen and I'm here with
Andrew. Hi.
And our special guest today is a mom, a wife, a business owner. She is the president, the owner, and a McDonald's coffee lover, Allison Will.
Hi, guys.
Yay.
Thanks for having me.
We're very excited for you to be here, and thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Quick shout out to LA Balloons. If you don't know who we are, LA Balloons, if you want the best products, professional service, and faster shipping, laballoons.com. We have balloons, silk flowers, all kinds of stuff. I forgot what my other thing was. And equipment and more. So check it out, laballoons.com.
Cool. We're going to start off
With a game.
Yeah.
And that's actually funny that you're wearing this pink shirt today because that coincides with the theme of your particular game.
Okay.
So the game that we have is usually the one that we do with everybody who's on here is to see how well they know the TUFTEX colors.
Okay.
So
I may need my glasses.
So with yours, and I'll hand you the bag, but we're going to do all pink colors.
Okay.
So let's see how well you do with your pink
boy.
tones. So we'll start off with this bag, and I'll show it. And this one is the color, and we'll see if you know this one.
Okay. I'll try not to
Try not to
cheat.
look at the title.
I believe this one is hot pink.
That is
correct. And then this is the next one.
I would say this is our standard pink.
That one's also correct. I was like, I'm going to go this way now to hide the title. This one?
This is probably taffy.
It is.
Ooh.
She's on a roll.
3 for 3 so far.
And then this is the next one.
Can you pull one out?
Yeah.
I want to feel it.
Let's try this one in the meantime while I take out the other one.
That one is definitely pixie.
It is.
One of my favorites.
And then this one's a lighter one. Let's see how well.
That's cameo.
That's also correct. How many of these did you pull? It's like
This is every pink or shade of pink that was close.
this one is the next one.
Okay. Once again, I can't.
Do you want to take that one out as well?
Yeah, I may need to.
All right. We'll do this one next.
So this one is probably Romy.
That one is correct. Yeah.
Yes.
That's Romy.
Okay.
And then this is the one that you had asked. to take
That's
one out.
baby pink.
Okay.
Yeah.
She decided. You're correct. And then this is the next one.
I would say this one is probably metallic fuchsia.
It is.
Yeah.
And then this one is a different.
Oh boy. This one may be our crystal magenta.
It is.
Yeah.
And then this is the last one that you had asked to take out.
Holy moly. Is it cheeky?
No.
Oh.
Can't see.
This one, I'm like,
Oh, well, I better not blow it up in front of everybody. It's too early in the morning. I can't tell.
this one is coral.
Oh, it's
Oh.
coral.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That one is
Thank
on
you.
the...
Yeah, I think, I was like, was that more than what we usually do? But
Jeez.
Is that more than 10?
I can't believe I got one wrong. That's just absolutely
Shout
awful.
out to Danny for pulling all of these. And I said, just pick
pull the
every
pinks.
pink.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit harder. So congratulations. Normally we do it where it is...
like blues and browns and like a mix of everybody,
Yes.
of everything.
So you can kind of compare between the two and
Yeah.
like blue slate next to Georgia or something like that. But this was all shades of pink, so it was,
I should have known that coral. I'm going to feel really bad about it for days.
We won't hold it
maybe
against
even
you.
months.
We're gonna cut that out so nobody knows.
I actually never. It's funny you bring that up because Doc just said yesterday to me, when was the last time we made coral? I'm not sure. So I haven't seen it in a bit, and I haven't really blown one up in a while. So that's my excuse.
actually, now that you bring that up, I think that's kind of a fun fact. So when you make colors at the factory, you generally do it seasonally, or how do you decide how much to make and when?
So Doc is my son, our second son, Doc. He is the one who chooses our production schedule, and he bases it mostly off of what we have on order.
Okay.
So we always have lots of white on order, so we could make white all the time, or a lot of the time. But then, of course, there are some seasonal things. Right before Halloween, we want to make sure, probably early September, get those black colors, maybe
purple.
orange, of course, maybe plum purple, that sort of thing. Same for Valentine's. There are several. New Year's, of course, we need lots of black. And so.
And Doc is in charge of that.
Doc, yes. But it's mostly based off of orders. Otherwise, when I tell him like, oh, I'd really like you to make sapphire blue because I love that. He's like,
it's not enough on order.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of people that use it consistently. Someday those crystals will be back. That's my mission.
Think they will trend again.
Yeah.
Like everything's kind of in cycles.
Yes.
So basically you're going to hold off until the distributors place enough orders for specific colors, and then that's when you'll put it on the production line.
Yes. So if you want a specific color, go to your favorite TUFTEX distributor and just keep bothering them to order it.
Place the order.
If they order lots and lots of it, we'll make it.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's good to know. I think a lot of people, when they're shopping around and they see like, oh, it's out of stock here and it's out of stock there, how come nobody has it? And it's likely because you haven't produced it, but that's also because we haven't ordered it.
Correct. Yes.
Right? Yep. So it's kind of like, hey, you have to tell your distributor. The distributor needs to know that you want it because they're also going off of what people are walking in or what they're ordering online. But that's cool. Okay, great.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Since you mentioned Doc, TUFTEX is a family-owned business, right?
Yep.
So can you walk us through like who works there and what their positions are?
Sure. So my husband Mike and I bought the factory in 2017. So almost 8 years we've been learning about balloons and making balloons and trying to sell balloons and all the balloon stuff. My husband does not actually actively work at the factory, although he does. He has another job, and he does keep, helps us all out on projects if we need it. And we have a weekly meeting with us because he's really good at just organizing a team and making sure everybody's, on point and in the right direction and organized. So every Thursday morning we meet together as a team. Doc has been the OG Will family TUFTEX balloons person because he was the first one to actually start at the factory. He started as soon as we bought the factory. I did not actually come in for a couple months after we purchased the factory. So I was still working at my other job and then came. So he and I have been together the longest. Our daughter-in-law, Meg, who a lot of people know, she came on during COVID because she was, as many people were, she was, I don't remember the word, but sort of laid off during COVID. And she was dating our third son, Lucas, at the time. And she has a fashion degree background. So I'm like, oh, she could help me, with colors and things like that. So she's been working with me, and her and I both work together pretty closely on all branding and events and all sorts of things. Then came another son, Gage, who is our oldest son. He started in 2023, and he runs the day-to-day operations of the Norwalk facility. He's also overseeing our new facility in Canada, mostly remotely, but he is going there every probably 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know his schedule exactly. I forgot to say what Doc does, but Doc takes care of all money things. He pays all of us and our teammates. He schedules production. He helps me with new customers and existing customers. He helps customer service. He does our IT. He does a lot,
He also makes the balloon colors too, like physically, like
he does. In the lab. He learned how to do it by hand, and he's the only one in. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's one other person I think who can do it doesn't usually, but he does come up with colors when I task him to do that, and he when he tasks himself, because he ties some things. And then our third son, who's married to Meg, Lucas, just started earlier this year. And Lucas and Meg moved to Canada, and he is in charge of day-to-day things at the Canada Hamilton facility.
So speaking of the Canada location,
Yes, our Canada.
your shirt says TUFTEX Canada, and a second location, a second facility. That is because of what?
Well, as most people in the industry know, there was basically a very large company, a big competitor of ours, who unfortunately had challenges the last couple of years, and they ended up going out of business, and many of their facilities were kind of up for grabs, I guess. And we decided to pursue the Canada facility for several different reasons. And one of them is it's only 5 hours from our Norwalk factory, so we can all kind of drive there somewhat easily. And the biggest reason for me is it has a lot of the things that would fill out our line. So we have been selling round balloons to decorators and balloon artists for, really several years since we bought the factory. We've been focusing on this segment of the industry. And what we didn't have were twisting balloons. We don't have a chrome type balloon line. We don't have linking balloons, balloon shapes, all those sorts of things. And we really just haven't had the time to develop those things. It's been so busy. So we saw it as an opportunity to produce all of those things, and we're in it.
Is that what you're saying? Are you making the official announcement that TUFTEX will be offering entertainer balloons, 260s, linking balloons, and shapes?
So yes, we are so excited. We are currently in production of 260s line, which we are calling TT 260s. And our first round or batch, I guess, I have all these words that I like to use. Our batch will be about 20 colors. So I think it actually was 18, and now Doc's bumped it to 19. And so right around there. And for the time being, it's just 260s, but we will and it's just those first colors, but we'll be kind of reviewing one step at a time. So whether we go to any 350s or 160s or other modeling balloons will yet to be determined. So
we know that it's coming out soon, plus or minus January, December. Like it's going to be available in
November.
Distributors near you.
Mid-November.
Mid-November.
We have and we just bought the factory. I believe we closed on August 1st, and the first we're still working through just legal work. We had to set up multiple companies in Canada to do things correctly by law, accounting purposes, all of those sorts of things. But everything will be TUFTEX. So it was a Qualitex factory, or a Pioneer factory, I should say. But we still have their knowledge there. They have a great team of employees. A lot of them have been there a long time making balloons and making really good balloons. And we have all of their production lines that were there, as well as their forms. So we are able to do, all of that there, but it will be TUFTEX formulation. So they will be TUFTEX latex. So I like to say it's, TUFTEX and Q having a baby. So these will be a blend of the two.
The best of both worlds.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and like I said, mid-November.
That is very, very exciting. And the initial colors that you're going to come out with, are they going to match up with the current color selection that you currently offer with your rounds?
Of course, yes. Yes, they are. So they will, they have color, we're color matching right now, going through that process, because once again, the Q pink was different than the TUFTEX pink. And so they will be TUFTEX pink now. We so far have many different colors made, a lot of standards, but we did consult with some different people, artists, as well as distributors, and what are the sizes, or I'm sorry, the colors that that the twisters like to have, because I only know round balloons. Our team really knows, our team at the original factory, we know round balloons, but we know a lot of organic artists, classic artists. We know kind of what they want, or at least we hope we do. But the twisting world is a new world for TUFTEX, so we're not sure what colors they use a lot. So we had to ask for some help, but we are throwing in some TUFTEX colors, especially in this first batch, and then the next batch we'll have more of both.
And you also mentioned effects, or
yes. So we are currently in developing our new chrome type balloon line, which we are calling TUFTEX Effects. So we'll have 4 colors coming out. And Doc might yell at me about this, but mid-December.
We're holding you to it, Doc.
Yes.
We know you're listening to this on your way to work. So
yes. And, he keeps saying January. I keep saying December. So it's soon.
Okay.
Soon enough, and it really is a lot, because it's a lot of new products. And, besides the actual production, which is actually a little easier, because once again, they've been making those chrome type balloons there at that facility for years now. So they're pretty good at it, but we did have to put our own TUFTEX spin on it. We don't want to have the exact same colors, and it will be with our latex formulation once again. So, I think people who use Q for years will look at it, feel it, both the TT260s and the effects, and say, oh, this kind of feels similar. Like this
but
is
different.
Something I'm used to. But yeah, there's also a little TUFTEX
spin to it.
So yeah.
Very cool.
How has that transition been for you? Because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but before anything with balloons, you used to work in like the funeral business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how has that kind of been for you, from going to that to, I think you guys also do like are in the medical business.
Yeah.
You guys are a little bit in like a little bit of everything. So how has that kind of been like learning experience wise for you guys?
Well, it's been a big learning curve for me, because I did only my whole, since I was 22, I went to college to become a funeral director and embalmer. And then that was the only job I had ever. So I did miss it for a long time. I still miss the people that I used to work with, and I do miss the job sometimes. But we've just been so busy that I feel like we're very focused for the most part. Although I have lots of days where I'm like, oh, squirrel, and I'm running around. I don't know what I'm doing today. But I think we are all, we kind of walked in. I remember going to my first float and thinking, what the heck is this? Like, I just stood in a corner, and I mean, I had several people say, like, you look like you're just like
terrified of everybody.
Exactly. Like, what is this? What is going on? Because, funerals are very different.
Yeah.
I mean, black suits, gray suits, not too much smiling, obviously, from me for years and years. And now it's, hot pink and coral that I don't know, and all of these things. So it's really different. But I think what it comes down to is we all, a lot of us, we all have jobs, and, you kind of get into your groove and you find your place. And I feel like our team, we're really kind of in that right now. So I feel pretty good about it.
What made you want to go to school? I think there's a lot of jobs that a lot of people don't really think about when they're like, I'm going to go to school to be a doctor or a teacher or something. So what kind of, I guess, made you want to go to school to be a funeral director?
You know what? I don't know. People have asked me that, lots of people over the years. And I always go back to when I was in 7th grade. We had a classmate, a friend who had an accident, and it was the first time I remember going to a funeral home. And it was very devastating because we were young.
Yeah.
And I always that sticks in my mind. It was just very it was very important at the time. I mean, obviously, it was a hard thing that we, my friends and I, and obviously his family and everything went through. And I don't know if that stuck with me, but it really just, that's what I tend to go back to, is I remember all of the pieces and parts of that couple days that we had his service and all of that. And it just was very interesting to me,
You kind of gravitated in that direction.
Yeah. I don't really have I think that was kind of, I just wanted to, I love helping people at the funeral home. So I love helping people who, a lot of times at that time in their life, they are kind of more helpless than usual. They want someone to kind of guide them and say, what should we do? Or where should I be? What time do I need to be here?
Yeah.
I felt like that was really helpful for people, and it made me feel good. So.
When you say that, it sounds like some of that experience did translate into going into the balloons and the manufacturing world, because now you're helping people, but in a different way. And it did sound like you were kind of helping them navigate through feelings and emotions and kind of uplifting them, or at least manage those feelings.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of just like taking the already happy people kind of happier, I want to say.
Yeah, I do. I think they're very different jobs that I've done, but I do see some similarities. And this is that's my most favorite part of balloons, is kind of seeing that, when we kind of come out with a color like Romy, for example. Everyone, I mean, the last few days, I've just had many people saying, "Oh, we just love Romy. Like, it's just been great. We needed a shade, nice pink shade that's soft and pretty, and it makes me feel good." So I don't know. I like to think that maybe with the funeral home, I was helping people, but now it's helping me more, because I just love like seeing the reactions on people and with the new colors or even just everything. It's a happy industry. I love it.
What is your favorite TUFTEX color?
Oh, it changes, let me tell you. So I do love sapphire blue, and that is one that has been with TUFTEX for a long time before I came. I love the crystals, so they're like, I just love it, and I don't see them often. But a magenta and sapphire blue. I do like pixie a lot. There are many. I do like sea glass.
Oh, that one's pretty.
Yeah. So
cute.
Like, whoever's out there needs to make more decor with sapphire so that Allison can see.
you may have a hard time finding it. I don't know.
Well, if they start asking for it, then maybe it'll be in production faster. So
exactly.
So talking about that kind of like trend, so like crystals at some point, they were kind of like the trending colors, and they kind of became more opaque colors, and then pearls and different things. What are you seeing kind of like is trending right now in the industry?
I think for several years it has been the chrome type balloons, and kind of different, I don't want to say offshoots, but different formulas and blends of those. So I like to call some of our balloons almost like hybrids, because they're not chrome type. I don't mean that, but they are, pearls that kind of have a new life to them. I'm seeing them with some other brands, that sort of thing, that they're not exactly chrome type balloons, but they're not exactly just, a pearl either. But for us, like, we've had a lot of fun when we made sugar. We redid our pearl white, and it's been a great seller for us. Lace, I think, was something we tried to hit for several years, and it was pretty difficult getting the color that I wanted. But then also our newest line with Romy, Georgia, and Meadow, just the blend of a traditional balloon with a pearl, So I think that's been a nice thing for me to see. So
how do you translate like the shade of color that you want? Because you go to Doc to tell him like, this is what I want. Like, how does that process like?
Well, normally I will find PMS colors. So in my little PMS, I don't know, swatch booklet. Yes. And I'll give him a couple because I don't really understand, how he makes them. And sometimes if I give him one, it actually will have a dispersion that we can't use in balloons because those are pretty generic recipes for colors, because right under like if it says PMS 203, it might say red, and then it has a number. And then, you have to kind of make those using that recipe.
To clarify, when you said dispersion, that is a dye?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so when we make the balloons, we really only have a handful of dispersions. So we have to figure out exactly, besides the latex, how much red is going to go in this color, how much yellow, how much blue, is there any black? And then, of course, there's a lot of white in most of them. So some of the PMS colors, their recipes don't have things that we can easily use. So then he might come back and say, oh, I can't use 202. What about 212? Or can you pick a different one that's close to it? And then we'll just kind of keep going back and forth with different shades. And he tries it. And sometimes it's really bad, just because it doesn't look great once it's translated into a balloon, or it just might not be the hue I'm looking for. So
on average, what is like, when do you decide, yes, we're going to make the balloon, and how long does that process take? So you said that one, the lace took a long time.
The lace took, I think, that and Cameo, they took a really long time. So we've had some balloons where it's like the first try. Like I don't remember which ones. I'm sorry, but he comes in the room and he has to hand make them. So when he makes a gallon, basically like bucket of it, and when he hand makes that, it takes about 3 or 4 hours to do about 4 balloons. So he'll come in and a lot of times they won't blow up because when you hand make balloons, there are lots of bubbles, and bubbles are bad for balloons. So they might have big defects, like big holes, or so sometimes we just have to stretch, or I actually use just like Scotch tape on the holes, and I've got a balloon with a bunch of Scotch tape
just so you can blow it up.
Yes. But for the most part, I would say maybe an average, and I'm just guessing, but I would say an average of maybe 5 to 6 tries on most of the colors that we've developed. But lace was a really tricky one because I really wanted that off-white, and so it kept going more toward like sandish color, and I really wanted a cream, and I wanted it to be lovely, like just rich and luxurious, I guess. And sometimes you just one little smidge of color can make a whole other color, basically. So that one did take a long time. So it was several years before we hit the one that I thought was, let's go with that one. Yeah. So.
Oh, I was like, are there any colors that you feel, I mean, at some point, I'm sure you'll continue to add colors, but are there any that you feel like you want to improve on, you want to just completely like get rid of, or?
Yeah, we have frequent talks about that. There are some, there are more colors we want to add, but we already have 76 colors. And we are going towards, now adding our effects line, our chrome type balloon line. So right there are 4 colors, and then we have 2 that I'm still working on. So at the most, I'm thinking we'll have 6 of those at the very most. So it is kind of like, okay, well, somebody needs to go on sabbatical, like somebody needs to retire or something, because, we can only make so many colors.
Yeah.
And so we will, it's really hard to do that though, because you have a lot of people who, we actually tried to do that with navy. So when we were trying to make something a little more mature and deep, and we came out with naval, and we really had a lot of feedback from people like navy is our perfect graduation balloon, and it's the shade we need for the school or whatever. It seems to be like a school type color.
Yep.
So we hadn't really announced that it was discontinued to like the world, but we after a couple months of just hearing over and over again, it's like, okay, well, so now we have navy and we have naval. And we at some point we'll have to make decisions, but I keep pushing it off, and that's why sometimes you just don't see production on certain colors, because they aren't being ordered a lot. But I'm not ready for them to leave just yet, or we're not ready as a team. So
cool.
Circling back to now that you have 2 facilities, and how Doc making 4 balloons if he's making a sample off of a bucket. How many balloons can you actually make in a day now?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I do not know. That is a Doc question. And he's actually, this is really bad, because I get to ask this question a lot, but I do not have a brain for numbers at all. So he has, it's hard to say, because we make different sizes every day, and some machines on different days are making different sizes. So obviously, if we're making 5s on a machine, they're so small, we can make lots and lots of 5s compared to, say, a 17s. And some of our machines make 5s on one day and another size on another day. So it's kind of an average, but Doc has given me an average, but he's actually written it down. He's told me several times, and he actually emailed it once, and I had it printed out, but I don't remember.
I'm going to circle back. I'm going to email Doc right after this. We're going to put it on the screen. Caesar's going to edit it, and bam. Yes. This is about how many balloons TUFTEX makes in a day, before and after, now with the new acquisition and the second facility.
Yeah, that's even trickier. So I definitely won't remember that. And he might not even have those numbers, because we are still just learning those lines, and our team there and here and I'm sorry, in Ohio, we just are still all trying to come together on everything. It's been great, but I'm not sure he exactly would have the exact number yet on adding in TUFTEX Canada.
Very cool. So I
have a question. Unless
Karen,
you want to ask a question.
No, you go first.
I was like, I have all the questions.
No.
Since you have so much kind of going on, what is a day in a life with Allison? Like, how early do you get up till like everything in between?
Well, I get up pretty early. Some days 4:00. Okay. I don't every day, but I don't sleep well. It's just a factor of getting older. And I drink a lot of caffeine, so I don't know if that's it, but I do get up pretty early. I definitely am always up by probably 6:30 on my way to getting ready for the day. We still have one son who lives at home. And I talked about our other 3 sons, but we do have a son who's 22 and one who's 15. So our 22-year-old lives on his own. And then the 15-year-old obviously is still at home. So I'm doing regular mom stuff, packing lunches or that sort of thing. And then I normally get to work about 8:30 each day. It's about a half-hour drive for me to get to work. So I do always get my coffee on the way to work. And when I'm having a busy day, sometimes I get a second McDonald's coffee. And I don't know, it just work, Oh, and I don't know. Sometimes I travel, and that's been a new thing for me, because I actually had never traveled alone until I got into the balloon world. And so I distinctly remember that, thinking, because we had 5 kids, so I've always just had kids
Everybody
everywhere,
with you.
and we do things a lot. Even now, we're really family oriented, so we have our grandkids with us a lot or things. But I just remember the first time I went and sat in a restaurant like all by myself, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice, kind of quiet. I can read my book, or So I do travel a bit. Right now I'm in a 3-week 3 weeks in a row traveling. So
right now we're in Anaheim at GloboCon.
mm-hmm.
Where are you going to be going the next couple weeks?
Well, next week we are having a witchy event in Boston. So we have that. I'm really excited about that. That's been something on my bucket list for a while. And then I don't have anything actually for the rest of October until still in the planning stages of a class. I go to the UK for the Balloon Artist Awards on November something 1st, 3rd. I'm sorry, I don't remember it.
No
It's a
worries.
Friday. I just remember that. So I'm going to be there. It's a great event. Lots of UK artists, and Pro Balloon Shop runs that. So while I'm there right now, I'm trying to set up a class in Ireland, because that's another bucket list for me, is to have a class in Ireland. So I'm planning that for that weekend. And then the next, almost just 10 days later, we have a class in London. So that one has also been something I've wanted to do with bubblegum balloons. And we're having, it's an iconic building in downtown London that we're going to have a class all day and build, basically. There, and it's all for charity. So there's a charity event there the next night, I believe, and all of the balloons are donated. All of our work is donated. Bubblegum balloons work, and then we'll have a social that night just to kind of celebrate. So those
your
are the
calendar
things right
is
now.
packed for the next
For a bit.
6 to 8
I
weeks.
actually don't know if I'm going to that one, even though it was something that I've wanted to do and worked with Bubblegum to put together. But we have just some other things going on, and so Meg actually may be going alone. To that event. So
I think this
Surprise,
actually,
Meg, you're going to love.
this is how she finds out. This is the first time I think I have seen you without Meg.
yeah,
Is this not?
Yeah, well, Meg and Lucas are, when we purchased the Canada facility, we asked them to go there. Just like when we purchased the Ohio factory, at the beginning we thought, well, Doc could go there and learn everything. And then great team, great management team. But when you start just kind of, we own it. We really should be there. We should
The
be
TUFTEX
learning.
culture.
Yeah.
You want to ingrain that over
Yep.
there also.
So we kind of thought that translated into Canada as well. So Meg and I will be separated, for a while. And I'm sure we'll be, even today, it's just constant. We work together a lot. So we talking, emailing, texting, whatever. But probably next week she'll be in Boston with me.
Oh, okay.
So we already had the flights and everything. And
Do you have the coordinating outfits?
next week, yes, we'll be dressing up as witches. So
Okay,
all
we need
of
to
the
get pictures
attendees.
of this.
It's a get your witch hat on event. So a little bit of dressing up for it, but after that we'll probably be a little bit more separated than usual. So
Well, we will miss her too.
yeah,
So we love seeing
well,
her.
you
every time we
may see her more than me. I don't know.
But I think if you do send her to the London or the UK, I think she'd enjoy it.
Oh yes, she's always down to go anywhere. So same for me. We both that's why we kind of work well together, because we both are, we love to travel. We both like to try any kind of food for the most part, and we love meeting different people. And that's, I think, my very favorite. I said I was trying to talk about it earlier, but my very favorite part of this balloon adventure for me has been, just meeting all the different types of people in this industry. and from Ohio, and I live in a small town. It kind of, a lot of people are maybe just similar to yourself, not exactly the same, but when you get to go to all these different cities and these events like Global Con or like Float, like the UK Balloon Artist Award, you just really get to know people, and that's just really fun. Yeah, really, really fun.
Next question on the list.
What?
No, that's perfect. So actually, in contrast to that, what has been the most difficult part about being an entrepreneur? So owning your own multiple businesses, but especially something like, TUFTEX and having 2 facilities and so many people working at both factories, traveling a lot, it being a family business, I think it's funny sometimes, most people, the wife goes to the one job, the dad goes to the other job, the son or whoever goes to the job, and they come back and they talk about work. Mm-hmm. But you guys are going and coming home to the same place, essentially.
Yeah.
So what's the most difficult part about?
Well, there are a lot of good things, and then there are a lot of difficult things. I don't know if one sticks out the most. Personally, when I tell people that, several of our kids and I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, Doc's wife, Abigail, just began working with us as well.
Really?
So there are a lot of our family members there. And just like at home where you're kind of like, I want that bowl of cereal. No, I want this, and you feel a lot more free when you're with people, that you love and that you, than a quote normal coworker.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little bit more, I need to be, yeah. And so some days it can kind of turn into like a little bit of, I don't want to say bickering, because we love working together, but it is a little more free, and it's just, some days you're in a bad mood and it's just like, leave me alone, please leave me alone. And you normally wouldn't say that to, a coworker, or at least I wouldn't have at the funeral home.
Karen tells me that all the time, actually. And it'll be funnier because we'll be matching.
I know.
2 days in a row right now. Yesterday, she wore the gray
t-shirt.
The gray t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I was like, of course you're wearing the same exact thing. And then even this morning, before the podcast, she had to change because she was also wearing the yellow shirt.
I was like, stop matching with me.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you guys can,
But she's not one to shy from saying like,
I think
I have to go.
I think it's just with him though, because with other people, like you said, like I'm not going to be like, oh, like leave me alone, Allison. Like, I wouldn't tell you that.
Yes.
But with him, because I've worked with him and like the relationship that we have, like I'm just like, Andrew, like, just leave me alone right now. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yes.
So I can understand why you're saying like, and like at the warehouse, like my sister works with us as well, Alley Balloons. So sometimes we're literally just like, she'll be like, I'm, like this and that. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, go away.
Yes. And so we have a lot of that going on. So that's been, but it's great. We love it. It's been awesome. But it also can be a little difficult. The other thing that can be difficult for me personally is I am, I'm not a boss. So I don't like to be a boss. Mm-hmm. And even when I was in Canada last week, one of our teammates said something like, well, you're the boss, said, well, you're the boss now, or something like that, because they're, that whole team is in transition right now. They were owned by another company and they're just learning about TUFTEX. And it always hits me kind of weird because I'm like, I'm not the boss. I don't know who the boss is. But I've never been comfortable. I'm more of the type of person where give me a project, go tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'll work all day long. I'll work hard at it. But I like the freedom that comes with owning our own businesses, but I really don't like managing people, or I guess that's the technical way of saying it, but I just don't like to be the boss. So, thankfully, that's what several of our sons are doing now. They have stepped into that role. They're comfortable doing it for the most part. My husband's very good boss. I'm like the opposite. You could come in and I'd just be like, okay, you know, and then I might be mad later, you know, but I'm just not very good in that role. So that's been difficult for me. So I like to have more like a team culture. I'm constantly, I call it like, you know, Meg's my teammate. That's the word that I use. I don't know what she thinks, but that's what I think. So, you know, her and I, and then Kendall also work together really closely, and Doc all day. And I just, that's been a challenge for me. So
That's funny you say that, because I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they asked about staff, and I was like, "Oh, I don't think at any point in my career, like I can't remember the last time I wasn't a general manager, but I always said like we work as a team, and whether their title was assistant manager or whether they were a part-timer or a full-timer or a lead or a key holder, whatever the case might be, I have always viewed it as we're a team. Certain decisions come up to you. Certain decisions maybe go up to Doc. Certain decisions go up to Karen or me, whatever it might be. But I've always just kind of seen it that way. But I think good leaders actually do view it in that way, and they're not like the boss, like walking around.
yeah.
But I'm not surprised you said that Mike, your husband, he's a very good manager. He was the city manager at one point. Is that
He
correct?
was of our town in Sandusky, Ohio. He's done a lot of things. He's constantly wanting to do new things. So yes, he's been many different professions. But the city manager, I don't know how many years he was our city manager. He really loves like neighborhood development and community development things. Those are, like, I would say, his kind of passions. But he was the one who wanted to buy the factory. I mean, he came home one day and said, "There's this factory for sale," and I was like, "Huh?" Like, I don't want to.
And you're the one who's in it every day.
I'm the one that's there living it and going to all these events and things. So it's, you know, it's good. It's all good. But he definitely has a lot of skills that I do not have. So and I think we work well together that way, because he's also very I'm really conservative on like making decisions. So I wouldn't have bought the factory for another 18 months, you know, where he's like, "Let's do it. Let's just do it." You know, it's only money, or it's only our livelihood or whatever.
This could make or break us. We don't know.
Exactly. And that actually has been another part, because as anyone knows, when they own their own business, no matter how big, how small, you have those stresses, and some nights it can keep you up all night. You know, money matters, things going on with your team, or with, you know, in this industry, I know for artists, just with jobs and trying to manage everything at once. Those are difficult things for me sometimes too, and a lot of times it's, you know, this is balloons. We make and sell balloons, you know, and that's what I try to remind myself lately of that. It's, you know, it's not all of these other little things. It's not that I'm wearing this silly pink tutu tonight to a you know, some kind of event, but in the end, it'll be fine. You know, we'll all be fine. And I love the industry. I really do. And I highly recommend buying a balloon factory. So
Good to know.
I'll let you know when it's for sale.
So, but I think you're doing a great job. Obviously, TUFTEX really went from something that was much smaller than it was many years ago to what it is now. You know, I think the market was geared towards car dealerships and things like that. And now it's moved into the decorator world. And now people really do love the brand, and they love the product, and they love you. What would you consider has been the driving or the main thing that's contributed to the success of TUFTEX?
I would say that it's a kind of a confluence of a couple things, and that is that you know, balloons. I think balloons have been around for a long time. They will be around for a really long time. But during Corona, or COVID, balloon, this segment really exploded, I think. And that was right about when we were kind of coming up like with and getting involved in the industry. And so we've had some luck, and I don't want to say it was lucky about COVID at all, because it was a really challenging time for so many, for everyone really. But it was a time that challenged us, and that, and also helium crisis, you know, several of those that we've had, trying to reinvent ourselves and make ourselves relevant, you know, and that's what I like doing, is trying to think of, you know, what are we going to do next, and who's going to help us do that, and who, you know, because there are a lot of people in the industry who are just so talented, and when you're at GlobalCon and you get to see the things that people can do, you know, these type of events, it's like, wow, you know, it's really, really cool, and it gets my mind working all the time. You know, what can we do? What can be the next thing? And that's, I think, what's been good about what's helped TUFTEX is just trying to figure out, where are we in this industry and where are we going?
So like the constant innovation and being inspired really by what's already happening and looking forward.
Yep.
Cool. What advice would you give somebody who is getting into the balloon industry, maybe not necessarily buying a whole factory, but what advice would you give to somebody, since you have kind of, you and your husband have kind of gone from like one thing to another, like just what's your tip? What's your advice?
I think it's just having interactions with others, because that's where I pick up things, you know, and I think before I got into this industry, and especially because the other job that I was in, I was a little bit more reserved, and now I so many wonderful people in this industry, but just going up and talking to them and listening to them, and sometimes it's not, you know, all fun and games. Sometimes they're not happy with your product, or they're not happy with something that's going on at the event, or different things like that. But just you know, kind of putting yourself out there, and that's what I feel kind of the most proud of for myself personally, is, you know, I can go into a place and it's crazy, but I'll go into an event, and right off the bat, I see, oh my gosh, I know like 60 people here, and, you know, and I'm so happy to see them. I haven't seen them for however a year or whatever. And so I think that really helps, because you just do pick up these little snippets, you know, or you just hear someone say, oh, but there's really not a good, you know, soft pink or whatever. And that's like, oh, ding, ding, ding. What can I do with that? You know, or even I might not even remember it, because my memory's not great. But someday I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, oh yeah, someone said like they're looking for this, or, you know, I should think about this. So I think anybody putting themselves out there is just talk to other people and get their knowledge and experiences, and try to mix it in with your own. So
I think that's one of the things that people maybe are not the most comfortable with, because I know I wouldn't go up and be like, hey, you know, like, this is what I think. But I think it is one of the things that a lot of people actually kind of repeat a lot and say, like, just put yourself out there. Like, you never really know. And I think, especially with like TUFTEX, a lot of people say that like you are very approachable, and they love like just being around you, and you listen to everybody. And I know like everybody just kind of likes working with you guys, and you guys have such a strong and like big community of balloon people. So it's really good that you.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite motivational quote that you live by or think about when things are tough, or anything to that nature?
You know what? I don't even know if I want to share them. I do have a couple that, but just remember, I'm a funeral director at heart. So most of my things are pretty morbid. I still am very, you know, all day long, if I'm looking at social media, it's a mixture of balloon stuff and funeral director stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Because
what is the content for funeral director? I'm trying to, now I'm curious. I didn't even know that was a segment.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, I just don't have a great memory, but I do have a couple things. Like, it's, you know,
dark humor.
Well, and it's not even, it is more, not funny things, but just, you know, I have over the years, I don't know how, hundreds and maybe thousands of funerals, you know, and when you're constantly reminded that not everybody has, tomorrow, or maybe not 40 years or however many years you think you have left, that personally is not very balloonish. I know that. It's not very uplifting, no pun intended, but it's that's kind of where I go, is more into my funeral world when I'm thinking about those things, and just, I'm here for today. Love Los Angeles, although I'm kind of stuck in a hotel today, but it's still, life's good, life's for the most part.
No, I think that's great. Like, I think we do take for granted kind of what we have to do today and what we currently have, and just thinking about, I would too, if I was constantly doing, what you were doing before, just being reminded not to take today for granted. I think ultimately is what you're trying to say.
That is probably what I'm trying to say, but I do have some quotes, but I can't remember them by heart.
That's fair.
As my team knows, I have lots of alarms going off constantly. That would be, if you spend a day in my life, you would be very annoyed by me all day. Like, everyone, they're like, I'll be back in the factory somewhere, and they'll be like, there have been 2 alarms going on at your desk. I snoozed them both, and don't forget to get milk on the way home. You know what I mean? And so I do have some things that just gentle reminders, but they are kind of morbid. So
got it.
Nothing pixie-ish or choral-ish or anything like that.
Do you have anything else?
My last question is, because we've talked so much about events and we're at an event now, is there an event coming up from TUFTEX? Will there be a TUFTEX experience
2025?
Again? Yes, there will be. So.
You heard it here first. It's happening. And LA Balloons is going to be there. We're the first ones to sign up.
Yes. So currently we're not ready to exactly give out everything, but we are hoping that we will be giving, Doc keeps calling it save the date, but it's not anything like that. We will just kind of put it out there, maybe in stories or something, that these are the dates for next year. So if you're available, you might want to mark that down in your calendars. Yeah. And Doc had initially told me I wasn't allowed to start selling tickets until January because of accounting purposes. Last time we started in November, and so we had tickets being sold in 2 different years. And don't ask me, because I know nothing about money or accounting or anything like that. So I said, okay, well, we'll have to wait till January, which isn't what I wanted. But then I heard last night, he said, well, it's not that big of a deal. And I have no idea when they're going to go for sale. If we announce it in October, the dates, we will give heads up what date the tickets will go on sale. So I do recommend getting them. And we are going to have about the same amount of people as last time. So we've had lots of people tell us, oh, I think you need to add more, and you need to add more. But I thought it was a nice number. So we had about 375 to 400. But we only had 300 tickets. So those extra people were all team members, instructors, and then our distributors and other vendors and their teams. So I thought that was a good, manageable number.
There was a lot of people, but at the same time, it was still intimate enough that I feel like I met everybody.
Yeah.
So, and it was also nice seeing them all here.
Yeah.
So Karen is going to be giving everyone the instructions on how to win this week's TUFTEX prize pack.
Oh, yeah. Well,
what do we got to do?
We'll switch it up this time. The last few ones that we've done have been on YouTube specifically, but this time we will go ahead and do one on Instagram. So there will be a video that we will post, a little reel that we will post, and you guys will get a goodie bag with all the TUFTEX merch, everything that's in there, just a bunch of fun stuff. So go ahead and like the video, comment below, tag somebody, and then that's it.
We'll select the random prize winner.
Hope you might win some coral.
Actually, that's what they'll win. They'll
sapphire.
be in the. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Thank you to Allison for being with us today. I know it was kind of tough trying to schedule making this podcast happen live in person, but we did it.
Yes, thank you guys so much. This has been great. It's very techy and cool. So
show a behind the scenes of our setup in the
don't forget laballoons.com. If you're looking for the best products, quality service, and fast shipping, laballoons.com. That's where you can get all of your balloon supplies, equipment, silk flowers, and more. And that's everything we've got for you today.
Shout out to TUFTEX again for sponsoring the podcast. Be on the lookout for the dates of TUFTEX Experience 2025, right? Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for the dates. Save your money because you want to be there. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's all I got.
I learned a lot. Thank you for being here, and I hope you had a little bit of fun.
I did. Thank you guys both. It's been fun.
We'll see you guys next week.
A lot of fun.
Bye, guys. Be sure to follow us on all our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Pinterest. Thank you to our sponsor, TUFTEX, for supporting the podcast on air with LA Balloons. TUFTEX is known for their high quality balloons, unique colors, and for being trendsetters in the industry.
Are you a balloon artist, own a party shop, or planning an event? If you're looking for professional products, better service, and faster shipping, then check us out at laballoons.com. We carry all of your favorite balloon brands, silk flowers, party supplies, equipment, and more.